Well, hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. Today, we are going through 2 Kings chapter 15 and 2 Chronicles chapter 26. Now, tomorrow we're going to go through Isaiah chapter 1 through 4. So, we start out with stories of kings, clearly. And this is a Rembrandt painting of a dude, and some people say that this is the likeness of King Azariah, who is also known as Uzziah. Now, this guy, he was pretty much another king that did not do full justice to his stature, his apparent godliness, and his significance. He was the co-regent for 25 years with Amaziah. That was from 792 to 767 BC. Now, to see his true importance, you can't read just 2 Kings chapter 15. It doesn't really say much about him here. You got to read into Chronicles chapter 26 and also into Isaiah chapter 6 to get the full story of everything that is really significant about his rule. That includes his co-regency with Amaziah. Now, his reign saw the passing of the dynasty of Jehu and the final end of Israel's imperial power. Now remember, he's the king in Judah. Now the kings in Israel that were the dynasty of Jehu, he saw those pass through. Remember those 4 generations that were going to pass. And of course, one of the most significant prophetic visions in the Old Testament is dated, and I quote, in the year that King Uzziah died, which is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1. We'll read about that in a couple days. His death truly did mark the end of an era. Now, it says in here that he was a good dude, but he also let the people continue to make sacrifices in the high places and burning incense in the high places when that was a job reserved for the priests. Now, that is an incident that led up to his skin disease. He decided later on in his reign that he got a little arrogant, and he decided he was going to go burn some incense in the temple. So he gets in there, starts to burn some incense in the temple. The priest tries to stop him, but he wasn't having anything of it. He got mad and ill with him, and he did it anyway. And as soon as he did, God struck him with a skin disease, and it started on his forehead. And he spent most of his life in quarantine while his son Jotham was the one that ruled over the household and governed the people of the land in his name. He was still king, but his son ruled as the face or the figurehead that delivered the message of the king or whatever and had the authority. So, we're going to move on to Israel's kings at this point. Israel king, we're going to start with Zechariah, son of Jeroboam. He was the king of Israel in Samaria for a booming 6 months. Now, not a whole lot's known about this King Zechariah guy. The name Zechariah is in the Bible a lot of times. You've got the prophet Zechariah, you got this King Zechariah. You've also got Zechariah in the New Testament, who was the father of John the Baptist. And so this name is up, but this guy Zechariah, you don't know much about him. The Bible doesn't really say anything about him other than he was evil, didn't do a whole lot of good. So what happens to this guy? This dude named Shalom, son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and he publicly struck him down and killed him and became king in his place. Now, the rest of this chapter 15 of 2 Kings reads kind of like a bad sequel to the Chronicles of Riddick. If you've ever seen the Chronicles of Riddick or those Riddick movies, the Pitch Black movies, he runs into this group of people where their idea of leadership is you keep what you kill. And that's pretty much what happens throughout this whole chapter. When somebody kills the king, they become the king in Israel. So this is the theme going through here. Once Shalom struck him down, as it says in verse 12, the word of the Lord that he spoke to Jehu was, 4 generations of your son will sit on the throne of Israel, and it was so. They're done. So we've got this King Shalom. Now, he reigned for a full month. That's right, a full month. When this guy Menahem, son of Gadi, came up from Tirzah to Samaria and struck him down. He killed him, and he became the king in his place. So here we have him. Now this King Menahem was not a good dude either. He was all about war and all about attacking people. He attacked Tipasa, and when they wouldn't surrender, he had all the pregnant women ripped open. He was a horrible, horrible person, and he reigned for 10 years from Samaria, and just about everything he did was evil. Now, even this king Pul of Assyria tried to invade him. When he did, Menahem pretty much just gave him 75,000 pounds of silver and bought him off. And then that guy became his ally because he got so much money from him. There's not really a whole lot of good that happened to him. Now, after he died, we have this king Pekka, who was the son of his son Menahem. And he actually ruled for about 2 years, but he did evil too. He wasn't a good king at all. And then his officer Pekka conspired against him and struck him down. And when he struck him down, Pekka became the king in his place. So here we got this King Pekka dude, and he was ruling in Samaria, and he reigned for 20 years. And he wasn't a nice guy either. He was evil, and during his reign, Israel just fell and fell and fell. This was a common scene during his reign. You would see, here he is standing there looking out from his palace wall or the city wall, and here comes the invading armies. Armies invaded and invaded and invaded and took over tons and tons of area in Israel and laid siege to Israel, took hostages, and took many Israelites captive during this time period. And then this guy, Hoshea, the son of Elah, conspired against Pekka. They killed him and became king in his place. Again, you keep what you kill theme that's going on in this. And by this time, most of Israel looked just like this. They were captives. They were enslaved. They were being run over, basically. So let's flip back over. After Uzziah dies, Jotham, who had been ruling with him, takes over. And he was the king for 25 years. He reigned, actually he was 25 years old when he started. He reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem. And he was a pretty good dude, but, yep, there's a big but there. He basically still let them worship, let the people make sacrifices and burning incense on the high places. Remember, you were only supposed to sacrifice in a certain place, right? That's the temple in Jerusalem. That's where the sacrifices were supposed to happen, not all over the place in high places wherever they wanted them to. So he was 25 when he became king. He added a bunch of cities to Judah. He built a fortress and a tower. He was also known for building the upper gate of the Lord's temple. He did a lot of good things, but there was that big but. That big but. Now, when we talked about 2nd Chronicles, when you read through 2nd Chronicles today, one of the things that stuck out to me was verse 22 in 2nd Chronicles chapter 26. It says, "Now the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, wrote about the rest of the events of Uzziah's reign from beginning to end." Well, this refers to a writing of the prophet Isaiah, but it's a writing that we don't have. We don't have that writing anymore. And we'll read more about that when we get to Isaiah and we get to chapter 6. But chapter 26 here was about Uzziah and the details of his reign. So I hope this has been an exciting adventure. What do you think about Uzziah's reign? Put that in the comment section if you want to. And anything else that might have stood out to you about today's readings. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Be sure to click that subscribe button. Follow me and give me a rumble if you're on Rumble. And give us a like if you're on YouTube. And I hope to see you tomorrow for another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. We'll see you then.